And Thomas, just check the waiting room, or you can disable it. All right, let's get started. We do not have a long training today, but I have a couple things. And remember, this is the Friday training, so a lot of it is, daily stuff, winning the day, activity, mindset, how to be full-time. That's the whole purpose of the Friday. It should be a little more intense and more committed, even if it's fundamental. So let me talk a little bit about licensing really quickly. I had a very important conversation with somebody through text. Okay, let me look up her. Okay, so I scheduled somebody for licensing class, and I was texting her throughout the class and asking her how class was going. And this is what she wrote to me. I said, "How is class going?" She said, "It's going well. I do see what you mean about the information overload though. But the presenter is fun and tries to slow down to explain things, even though we're all under a time limit, so I appreciate it." And then we started talking back and forth, okay? So the reason I'm talking about this, we have, options when getting our recruits licensed, okay? And one of the options is obviously Zoom class. This was physical class. Okay, so she went to physical class. She's in New York. She went to New York. She's in physical class. You can do Zoom class where they're on with an instructor and then they do it on Zoom, or they can study on UCANPASS. Okay, those are basically the three main options. And obviously there's review sessions and all that stuff. So I'm going to read it again, what she said to me. "How is class going? It's going well. I do see what you mean about the information overload though, but the presenter is fun and tries to slow down to explain things, even though we're all under a time limit, so I appreciate it." Okay, so one thing that we do when we hire somebody, a lot of times we feel like we're doing work because we sign them up for UCANPASS. So if I see Caroline and I say, "Hey, I get her started, I recruit her, and I sign her up for UCANPASS," and then she starts playing around with it, that for many people, the overwhelming majority of people, that's a death sentence. Okay, because I'm going to read it one more time. "It's going well. This person went to physical class. I do see what you mean about information overload, but the presenter is fun and tries to slows down to explain things, even though we're all under a time limit, so I appreciate it." There's no presenter to make it fun. There's no teacher to slow it down. They're just overloaded with UCANPASS. It's boring, it's redundant, it's monotonous, and it kills a lot of our recruits. Now, sometimes it's unavoidable. I have a recruit in California. They don't offer Zoom class, and she's an hour and a half away from any class. She's got to do UCANPASS, and she doesn't even have a car. She does not have reliable transportation. She has to do UCANPASS. And what did she say? "I do see what you mean," because I prepped her. I said, "Listen, Caroline, class, I hope it's really fun for you and exciting, and some of it's very practical, but if you're like me, you might get overwhelmed. Don't worry about it. Fight through it. Just get through the class. You hear it a couple times. There's a review session. There's no pressure. Just finish the class." And I was educating, teaching her about what to expect with licensing class. If you send people just to UCANPASS and they start studying, there's no interaction. It's not fun. It's not slowed down. They take a quiz at the end of the chapter, and they think they got 7, 8, 10, 12 chapters. Man, this is only going to get harder. Man, why am I doing this? My job's not that bad. My financial situation's not that bad. You got to understand, like, it's just like when I deal with people, if I know a little bit about them on the client side, I don't offer them custom advantage, because I know they're unreliable and they're not going to, the juice is not worth the squeeze. If I feel like the coverage amounts on that borderline custom advantage and term now, and the person is a little flaky, I just want to get their policy enforced. I don't want to have to coordinate a medical exam, any of that stuff, and I'll just do term now. I don't offer them custom advantage. I say, great, Cheryl, you can qualify with a rapid data check, and I'll just explain that. I don't say anything about the medical exam. I would never offer just you can pass. I would never tell people that you could do that. I would first, and I want everybody to pay attention, send people to physical class. If it's available in their area, send them. If it's not, second is Zoom class. I've been talking to people that have been doing really well in licensing. Some people have been getting a lot. And they said, because physical class is so empty, people are not going. Now, they might be now because things are starting to open up again. It's like having a personal tutor teaching you, helping you, guiding you, encouraging you. So we need to get people in class. You need to find out when you do your orientations, when in that state, when physical class is, give them options, put in their address, how close it is to their house, and get them. And then obviously the same thing. If they commit and they go and they drive and they take off a weekend, they clear their schedule, they have to go through a little bit of a gauntlet. You increase the probabilities of them getting licensed. Remember, we came back from our trip, and this is the decision that we made. We are going to really master licensing. We're going to get people licensed. Okay, so Jen had a question. I'll answer this. She says, so don't set people up for you can pass at all before their class. I mean, I wouldn't, because if someone gets on and they start, and we lost a recruit like this, all right? And not a recruit, we've lost like 5 in the last months, because they got on you can pass, they started studying before they went on appointments, before they went to training, because we want to push them to get licensed quickly. That there's nothing wrong with that, but you also got to understand, you don't want to send your recruits to walk the plank. Physical class is the best. Zoom is the second best. The people that I've gotten a few people licensed in the last couple of months, they've all gone to class, or at minimum Zoom class. No one's just done you can pass. So master the licensing process. You got to figure out fingerprints and scheduling every single state. You got to know before you do that orientation, when you recruit them. If I know Josh is in, Florida, I got to know that licensing process. If I know he's in New York, I got to know that licensing process. You call somebody that might be in our office from that state, right? I called Tatiana. I said, hey, man, send me your stuff. She sent it to me. I have extra material for you once you complete class. I mean, just prepare them. Always remember, new licensed people bring energy, promotions, income, first month license, bonuses, all happen when people pass their exam. And continue to talk about it. What do I mean? How many licenses are you trying to add? How many licenses have you had? You can see every op meeting I talk about, every webinar. Well, we're at right around 400. Our goal is to get to 1,000, right? I'm always talking about the licensing goal and understanding You know, if I were you, if I was brand new, or any level, I would try to get 10 new licensed people as quickly as possible, definitely before the end of the year. Some of you guys could do it in a month, maybe 2 months, maybe a quarter. But how quickly can you add 10 new licensed teammates? Even with new people, hey, my goal is to help you build a team of 10 licensed people. So they understand recruiting as a process. It's not just hiring somebody. I got a recruit. You didn't get a recruit. You got somebody to pay. 10 licensed people. So to answer your question, Jen, I would be very weary about signing people up just for UCAN Pass, because it doesn't really do anything. You know, I mean, what are they going to do? Study before their class? I don't think that that's smart. That's just me personally. You know, if both op 1 and 2 are not available, then maybe yes, I would send them to UCAN Pass. Well, you have no option, so yes, I would send them to UCAN Pass. But I don't like registering people for UCAN Pass right away because they study. Sometimes I do register them, Jen. I say, do not study before class. I say that, don't study. Because then they really get a false sense of what our business is. They think it's taking tests. Even in the class is somewhat boring. The class has an instructor, there's people, it might move slow, and there are a lot of people asking a lot of questions. The instructor usually does a decent job of telling people what our business is and that why these products are bad, whole life, all this stuff. They give positive success stories. They play Kahoot. They make it interactive. There's way more pros than cons sending people to class. And then second option is Zoom class. So I would be very weary, Jen, about signing people up for UCAN Pass right away, because I think it does a little damage. A friend of mine, you know, he's a $1 million earner, Omar, and he just says this. I'm not saying it, you know, but he just gets you thinking about it. He goes, yeah, I call UCAN Pass, you can't pass. He says that. He said, because it's just, you know, it's ineffective. And when I had some feedback from recruits, you know, and they quit right away because they started studying. And I didn't think that was, you know, it was worth it. You know, they had not been on really any appointments. They hadn't been to trainings really. And they started studying and they just got bogged down. And I was the same way, right? I mean, a lot of you guys know, if you're studying for exams, whether you're 65 or your securities exam, remember that feeling, because brand new recruits think that same way. Multiply that by 100, because they don't even have anything vested in this business except their little, you know, $100, and then they quit. All right. So a couple things wanted to just keep in mind, you know, just about daily activity and working. You know, we're coming in, our 90 days is almost over. It's mid-March almost, right? It's March 11th. So by the end of the weekend, we will be mid-March. Okay, most people give up on their resolutions. They kind of retreat from their goals within a month. Okay, and I know that's a lot of people on this call. You know, you're battling with the same thing, right? And always remember this: if you're going through hell, keep going. Right? If you're struggling, keep struggling. You fight through it. Don't give up. It doesn't matter if it's a goal, a dream, a wish, a plan, you know, something. If you're going through hell, keep going. Okay, nothing happens if you stop. You never get off the roller coaster mid-ride. Always remember this: personal activity is the key. It's the key. What are you doing? That is step one. How many calls are you making? How many people are you talking to? How many sales are you making? How many referrals are you getting? How many appointments did you set? Everything is personal, and it just starts, okay? As long as you're starting to do something personal every day, and you talk to your teammates about what they can do. Can you send out 20 messages? Can you set 1 appointment today? I just try to move the needle with everybody. What can you do today to overcome, to feel confident? Why? Because you did something. Number 2 is consistency. All right. Then what can you do it daily? Can you do it repeatedly? Can you be consistent? Okay. Hey, I did this. You know, I talked to 25 people. That's great. Awesome. What can you do every day though? That's where the confidence comes from. That's where the posture is. You're not going to lose 100 pounds in a day. It's consistency, diet. You're not going to gain 20 pounds of muscle in a day. You're not going to read 1,000 books in a day. You read a little bit every day. You're not going to make $1 million in a day in this business, right? You have to grow and build that. And that starts with personal activity and then consistency. You know, yesterday, and Bruce talks about this a lot. How many intense conversations are you having trying to get people into your business or get them to become a client? Where like I called somebody yesterday and I'm on this little campaign where I'm trying to re-recruit people that let their license lapse, right? Over COVID, over 2 years. So I found out this lady, her license lapsed. She was in my base shop and her license lapsed. And so I called her and I said, hey, and I'm having an intense conversation because she has to retest. But it was awesome talking to her about why now's a great time, why our team is poised to dominate and make a move, why she'd be great. And I revisited her goals on why she started and why she let it go. And it was just some nonsense reason. And that was one of my great conversations. How many of those are you having every day with people about your business, about getting them involved, about going to the next level? And I'm talking about pretty new people, new unlicensed people, not like, that doesn't qualify. If I talk to Jen about getting to the next level, that doesn't count, right? She's already in the business. She's already committed. That's my job as a leader, to have those conversations with people that are already in the business. But I'm talking about new people going for district leader, new people getting their license, unrecruited people talking about recruiting them. How many every single day? Well, if you don't have any, why would you make money? Always plug in to everything. Everything that you can plug into, especially the hard stuff, plug in. You hear these things. You beat 50% of people by just showing up. By just showing up. I tell my kids the same thing. You're going to be 50%. The other 40%, just by working hard. Show up, work hard, you're already in the top 90%. That last 90, it's a dogfight. I heard that from Art Williams, right? He said that you beat 50% of people just by showing up. So always plug into every single thing. Self-improvement maniac. Look, your attitude's very, very important. You got to have a great attitude. Remember, you got to self-improve. The minute you start self-improvement, it's a disease. It comes in. You start thinking that you know it all because you don't need to improve. And so you work backwards in justifying. I'm not saying you got to be a bookworm, but you got to self-improve, man. You got to listen to the audios. You got to improve your game, man. You got to, closing, sales, people skills, leadership, motivation, public speaking, life insurance, the products, spiritual, coaching. I don't care what you read. Find some good books that interest you. Right now, I think in the beginning, you should always read on sales and closing. That's probably one of the best topics to read. And I think after you read probably 30, 40, or 50 books on sales, then you can move on. And that's usually a year's worth of reading. But you got to be a self-improvement nut. A self-improvement nut. And then the last two, win the day, and then call your trainer and your RVP with win the day. Okay, so you should be trying to win the day every single day. You should, and the reason why I said call your trainer, a lot of you guys haven't really developed a plan to win the day. And win the day is different for everybody. It really is. Okay. If you're brand new and you don't have much stuff, winning the day could just be making 15 phone calls, right? Win the day for me might be different than you. So you need to call your trainer, your RVP, whoever it is, and say, what's my win the day start? What do I have to do every day? And come up with a game plan. And every single day you battle and you try to, every day you try to win. And, you know, a great week is nothing more than great days. A great month is nothing more than great weeks. A great year is nothing more than a few great months. And a great career is just a few great years. And if you can string them together, you can have an unbelievable career, year, month, week, morning, whatever you want to call it. So, like I said, develop a plan every single day, an activity plan, a results plan. Most of the time, it's not your results that are the problem. It's the habits. You have bad habits. That's the problem. And talent can overcome that, but not long-term. Not long-term. You got to instill good habits. Waking up at a certain time, reading every day, making your calls in the morning, doing appointments at the good times and consistent, not playing catch up to the end of the month. That's how you make a lot of money. 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month. And if you can clone yourself when you're highly productive, consistent, plugged in, always getting better, and you can clone yourself 10, 12, 15 times, you'll make $1 million a year. But you got to be that person. You got to become that master copy. So anyways, tomorrow, like I said, I just wanted to have a short meeting real quick. Very, very excited. Tomorrow we'll be on Zoom for people out of state. If you are in the area, come in person. And we have our op meeting that will not be broadcast. Okay, it's a live op meeting. We're starting right at 9:30. If you're coming, bring your guests, dress up. We got new stuff prepared for our op meeting before and after, new slides that we're working on, a lot of awesome stuff. And training will be great as normal. And we're on a time limit. So show up on time, early, be ready with your guests. Don't come dragging in, great attitude. Saturday morning op, Saturday morning training is game day. It's big event stuff, okay? It's where we separate. And we really are showcasing. And obviously we'll still be on Zoom. I get great feedback for the training that is on Zoom because you still get it. So mandatory, like I said, plug in. And then we will, we're gonna have a great training tomorrow. All right. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Appreciate you guys.